Hey there, it's Jessica, and welcome back to the English Pro podcast. Let me ask you something. How many times did you say the word very yesterday? I'm guessing a lot. I'm very tired. That's very good. It's very hot today. Listen, I get it. When I was learning other languages, I used the equivalent of very all the time because it felt safe. It's like a security blanket for language learners. But here's the thing. Native speakers don't actually say very as much as you think we do. And when we do use it, it often sounds, well, a bit weak. Today, I'm going to help you sound more sophisticated and natural by showing you what native speakers actually say instead of very. Trust me, these alternatives will make you sound so much more fluent. Let's dive in. Why very makes you sound like a beginner. So here's what happened to me last week. I was at a coffee shop and I overheard this conversation between two English learners. How was the movie? It was very good, very interesting. The acting was very nice. And I thought, wow, they know a lot of vocabulary, but they sound like they're reading from a textbook. The problem with very is that it's lazy. It doesn't paint a picture. It doesn't tell me how good, how interesting, or how nice something was. Native speakers prefer words that are more specific, more colorful, more alive. Instead of saying very good, you could say, that movie was fantastic. Instead of very interesting, try, that documentary was fascinating. Instead of very nice, you might say, the acting was brilliant. See the difference? These words have personality. They tell a story. Common, very combinations, and better alternatives. Let me share some combinations I hear all the time and what you can say instead. Instead of very tired, you can say exhausted. This means extremely tired. For example, after that 12-hour flight, I was absolutely exhausted. Instead of very hungry, try starving. This means very hungry. Like this. I skipped lunch, so by dinner time, I was starving. Instead of very cold, you could say freezing. This means extremely cold. You might say, I forgot my jacket, and it was freezing outside. Instead of very hot, try boiling. This means extremely hot. For instance, the weather was boiling yesterday. I couldn't even go outside. Here's one I use a lot. Instead of very funny, say hilarious. This means extremely funny. Like, that comedian was hilarious. I couldn't stop laughing. Instead of very big, you can say huge or enormous. These mean extremely big. For example, their new house is enormous. It has like 8 bedrooms. Instead of very small, try tiny. This means extremely small. You could say, my first apartment was tiny, but I loved it. Making your emotions sound real. Now let's talk about feelings, because this is where very really shows up a lot. Instead of very happy, you can say thrilled or delighted. These mean extremely happy. Like this, I was thrilled when I got the job offer. Instead of very sad, try devastated or heartbroken. These mean extremely sad. You might say, I was devastated when my favorite restaurant closed down. Instead of very angry, you could say furious. This means extremely angry. For example, I was furious when they canceled my flight at the last minute. Instead of very worried, try anxious. This means very worried or nervous. Like, I was anxious about the presentation all morning. Instead of very surprised, you can say shocked or amazed. These mean extremely surprised. You could say, I was shocked when I saw how much weight she'd lost. These words have so much more impact than just adding very to basic adjectives. Advanced alternatives that will impress people. Let me give you some alternatives that will really make you sound sophisticated. Instead of very beautiful, try gorgeous or stunning. These mean extremely beautiful. For instance, the sunset last night was absolutely stunning. Instead of very smart, you can say brilliant or clever. These mean very intelligent. Like this, she's brilliant. She figured out the solution in 5 minutes. Instead of very difficult, try challenging. This means very hard to do. You might say, learning Mandarin has been really challenging for me. Instead of very easy, you could say simple or effortless. These mean very easy. For example, once you get the hang of it, cooking pasta is effortless. Here's one that sounds really natural. Instead of very busy, say swamped. This means extremely busy. Like, sorry I couldn't call you back. I've been completely swamped at work. Instead of very clean, try spotless. This means perfectly clean. You could say, after 3 hours of cleaning, the kitchen was spotless. The power words that replace very. Now, sometimes you do want to add intensity to a word, but instead of very, try these alternatives. Absolutely works great with strong adjectives. For example, the concert was absolutely incredible. Completely works well too. Like this, I was completely exhausted after the marathon. Totally sounds more casual and young. You might say, that new Netflix series is totally addictive. Utterly sounds more formal, but very native. For instance, the instructions were utterly confusing. These words sound so much more sophisticated than very. Putting it all together, let me give you an example of how this sounds in real conversation. Before, with very. The restaurant was very good. The food was very delicious and the service was very nice. It was very expensive, but the atmosphere was very romantic. After, without very, the restaurant was fantastic. The food was delicious and the service was excellent. It was pricey, but the atmosphere was incredibly romantic. Can you hear how much more interesting and natural the second version sounds? A personal story. I remember when I was trying to improve my Spanish, my teacher told me to stop using muy, which means very in Spanish, for a whole week. At first, I felt like I couldn't express myself properly. But you know what happened? I started using more interesting vocabulary. I started painting pictures with my words instead of just stating facts. The same thing will happen to you with English. When you stop relying on very, you'll be forced to use richer, more colorful language. Your challenge this week. Here's what I want you to try. For the next few days, pay attention to how often you use very. Don't stop yourself. Just notice it. Then try to replace it with one of the alternatives we talked about today. Instead of very tired, say exhausted. Instead of very good, say excellent or fantastic. You'll be amazed at how much more confident and natural you sound. If you enjoyed this episode about improving your vocabulary, you'll love episode 14. What to say when you are confused. It's full of simple word swaps that will upgrade your English immediately. Also, check out episode 2, How to Communicate in English Effectively. It covers even more ways to make your English sound stronger and more natural. All right, that's it from me today. Remember, don't just make your English bigger with very. Make it better with specific, powerful words. Your English will thank you for it. This is Jessica, and you've been listening to the English Pro Podcast. See you in the next episode.